Hello, this is Chip from 5th Edition Visions, and I'm here to talk about a card that I happen to have a crush on. Okay, so you may not think it's a great card. In today's world, it really isn't a great card, but it's important to me for a couple of reasons. So let's take a look at it. Right now, it's blinking across your screen, all 5 versions of it, and it's Leviathan, 4 blue, 5 generic, okay? 10/10 trample. The art makes it look like it flies, but it doesn't fly. And it comes into play tapped, and if you want to untap it, you have to sacrifice 2 islands. And if you want to attack with it, you have to sacrifice 2 more islands. Which means if you play this and you want to swing in, you're probably going to have to spend 4 islands to do so. And in today's environment, there's lots of ways to deal with an attacking creature. It's just not useful today. But back in the day, it was exciting. Simply because in the mid-1990s, when this premiered in the Dark expansion, Magic the Gathering was a bit different. The creatures weren't as tough. The creatures weren't supposed to be the big thing that could win you the games. So this was meant to be a big scary creature, but they had a lot of drawback to kind of balance it out. Also in the Dark, that expansion, they had a sacrificial sub-theme, which meant a lot of cards had you sacrifice things. That was kind of that was the flavor of the set. So it made sense for this big creature, you had to sacrifice things to make it work. Okay, so that's interesting. But so it was in the Dark, it was in 4th edition, 5th edition, Beatdown box set, which was a set where you would get 2 decks and play against each other, and this was in one of the decks. And then it was in Time Spiral, and Time Spiral had a gimmick where inside of each booster pack you could get a classic card from Magic's past, and this was one of them, okay? Well, why do I like this? Why is Chip sharing about this card? Well, there's 2 reasons. One, I have some memories about it. And 2, because I'm sad that it's probably never going to be reprinted. And I understand why it's not going to be reprinted, but we'll get to that in a second. First, I want to talk about the things that I love about this card, the stories. Okay, so back when Chip was in middle school, my parents funded for myself and my siblings to go fly out to visit my grandparents. And of course, when we get there, all we want to do is sit in their recliners, go in their hot tub, and watch TV and just go to the mall. They wanted us to see all the sights, the things that we could see, out of state that we, were away from our home. And we just wanted to do regular teenage things. And one of the things that my brother and I wanted to do was go to the store and buy Magic cards. And they thought that was foolish. One, because they thought Magic cards were a lot like Pogs. They thought that Magic cards were going to go the way of Pogs, that they wouldn't be around anymore, and that it was an absolute waste of money. Well, they were wrong. But if they really had thought about it, Pogs and Magic the Gathering, completely different things. You couldn't really do much with Pogs. You just flipped them over, lots of different art. Magic was a complex game, but they didn't understand that. They just saw them as trading cards. So they thought it was foolish that we were wasting they had to drive us down to the mall, waste our money, we buy these Magic cards. But they did it, and I remember getting like a 5th edition starter deck or something that I found there. And I was flipping you got 3 rares back in the day, and this was one of the rares. And I was just, oh, this is so exciting. This is fun. Look at this big, tough card. It was my 5th edition Leviathan. I thought it was great. So cracking that was a wonderful memory for me. And anytime I see the card, I think about that. I also think about the second story, which was after I had all of my Magic cards, including the Leviathan. In the summertime, my brother and I would go with the Boy Scouts and we'd go camping up in the woods. And one time we took this canoe trip, and we canoed to this island in this beautiful summer, and it was just a beautiful day, all these nights on this island in the woods, and we all played with our Magic cards. And this was before we had deck protectors. I mean, they had them, but we didn't care, so we just had our Magic cards wrapped around rubber bands or whatever we had, and we'd play on the picnic table, and I had a deck with my Leviathan in it, and everybody loved the creature because it was just so exciting to us. And, once I got it out, but I couldn't win it. And then the one time I got it out, sacrificed the island, swung in for the win. It was just exciting. Everybody thought it was so cool, that I got the Leviathan out and I was able to win the game with it. So when I see the card, this brings back those memories. And I believe that that's one of the great things about collecting Magic the Gathering cards. Because when you open a card or you have an experience with a card, it kind of imprints upon you. I have a video about Herald of Anguish, that card from that was horrible for me at the Aether Revolt pre-release. And, now whenever I see that card, I remember those 2 matches where it showed up in 4 games and crushed me. And so you have memories with cards, and that's why I love cracking them. I love looking at them, including this card here. Okay. Now I also like this card talking about because I know I'm lonely and I'm sad. I feel bad for this card because it's never going to be reprinted. I mean, never say never, but there's really no incentive for them to reprint this card. Why? Well, because when they make new sets, they only have X number of slots for cards, maybe 180, 230 slots, and people want useful cards here. They don't want duds. This really doesn't fit into anything. It would be a useless card. Now, of course, they could always, do some top-down design and find a way to create cards that could make this card useful and to put it in. Like, you could have an enchantment that says, like, anytime you sacrifice an island, draw 20 cards, okay? So that would be, oh, now I'm going to sacrifice my island and put my Leviathan, then I get to, draw 20 cards, or sacrifice islands and you get to play, 3 additional lands, so you could replace it. They could top-load it and find a way to make it, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So they're just not going to reprint it. So there's only a finite number of these out there. They're not worth a lot. The dark one is worth maybe a little over $1. And the beatdown box and the time spiral one, maybe like $0.25. And the 4th edition, 5th edition, maybe, anywhere from 50 cents to 75 cents. They're not worth a lot. Maybe in the future, 50 years, 100 years from now, they could be worth more. But that would depend if there's people, perhaps people like me, who have an affinity for it, that we like it, we see the art, we think it's great, it makes us happy, and that gives us the incentive to maybe have a whole shoebox full of these Leviathans. Even though they have no practical playing purpose, there could be satisfaction of just owning a bunch of them, if you do happen to like it, like I do. So anyway, so I wanted to share that card with you simply because I like it, and it's one reason why I like Magic the Gathering. But please let me know your thoughts on this card. Did you play Magic when this card came out? Did you ever play with it? If you're a new player, does this card kind of shock you? Does it feel like, whoa, what is this clunky big creature? And please comment on that art. That art is gorgeous. If I could find a way to get a print of that art and put it up in my Magic the Gathering den or library, which I don't have, but would love to have someday, I would, because I think it's beautiful. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a fantastic day. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.